Okay, topic 9, accounting for non-current asset. Okay, as for the first part of the video, I've already explained the definitions and also the types of non-current assets. So in your notes, okay, so you can see here the definition for fixed asset. Okay, asset which are purchased for long-term use in business and not intended to be sold to customer. It's not for resale. Okay, so we have three types of non-current asset. Okay, yang pertama we have the fixed assets. Okay, and then we have the intangible asset and also the long-term investment. Okay, so if you were to give the types of non-current asset, these three will be your answers. Alright, but if you were to give example for fixed asset, okay, this will be your answer. Okay, so don't mix up with the definition for fixed asset and also for non-current asset. Okay, how do we determine the fixed cost asset? Fixed asset cost, okay, as I mentioned earlier, the cost price is the one that is stated in the invoice, and then the cost that you need to incur during the preparation for the asset to be used, okay, such as transportation charges, installation, and juga, and also testing, and then you also have the sales tax and also the legal fees. Okay, so you must remember that costs which do not increase the operating efficiency, that means sesuatu bayaran ataupun kos yang kita terpaksa bayar tapi tak memberikan sebarang peningkatan atau penambahbaikan kepada aset, is won't be considered as a cost of the asset. Okay, that will be treated as expenses. Okay, so kita kena faham the cost incurred. The purpose is actually to increase the efficiency of the asset, okay, the productivity, and also to increase the useful life of a fixed asset. Okay, that one will be included in the cost price. Okay, other than that, should be treated as expenses. Okay, so this are the example that is already shown in part 1. Okay, so we will only take the first item, second, third, fourth, and fifth. This will be the cost price. Okay, and the last item here will be considered as expenses. Okay, that will be the insurance expense. So if you were to record the transaction for January 1st, okay, so in January 1st there are actually two transactions. The first one is when you acquire the fixed asset, and the second one is when you are paying the insurance expense for the asset. Okay, so actually we have two journals will be included here. Okay, so the first journal will be debit machine or machineries, and then we'll credit cash, because in the question itself it does not mention the method of payments, so we assume the payments are made by cash, so we will debit. Okay, the first thing that you need to remember, you must have the date. Okay, and then kita akan debit machine. Okay, machine is 8,700 only. Okay, we are adding up the 8,000 from the cost price of the asset. Okay, campur sales tax, transportation charge, installation costs, and also insurance while in transit. Okay, and the balance of it, which is 150, that is actually insurance. And kita semua tahu, as we already learned in topic 5, insurance is actually an expense that you will pay in advance. Okay, and it will expire during usage or time, so we will debit prepaid insurance. Okay, and then we'll credit cash. So these two events, okay, is the transaction that you need to record on 1st January. So yang ni kita record purchase of machine, and the second one, this is the first transaction. The second transaction actually kita record when we are paying the 150 ringgit for the fire insurance. So that one wouldn't be included in the asset cost price. So that would be recorded separately as expenses. Okay. So we're going to see the depreciation concept. Okay. So for depreciation, we have two different bases. So I will focus on the first basis, which is the monthly basis first. Okay, we'll do the monthly basis. Okay, monthly basis meaning that the depreciation is recognized to the nearest month. Okay, so what's the meaning of nearest month? That means the month, the calculations of depreciation is more detailed. Okay, sebab kita akan ambil kira berdasarkan bulan aset tersebut digunakan. Alright, okay. So let's say, okay, the asset is newly purchased. Okay, asset yang baru dibeli. Okay, so if you were to purchase the asset during that particular month within 1st until 15th January, so the depreciation for the asset, okay, will be calculated including the month of the purchase. So contoh, let's say saya beli bulan 10, I beli 2 hari bulan 10 2021. Alright, so your closing date will be 31st of December 2021. So when we are closing the account on the 31st of December 2021, okay, that means you will do the adjusting entries for the depreciation. So ada berapa bulan depreciation for this asset. So let's say your asset dikira berdasarkan straight line method. So let's say it is 10% from the cost, from the asset cost. So contoh, katakan asset you nilai dia ialah 10,000 and the depreciation rate using straight line method is 10%. So normally kita akan darab terus dengan 10%. Okay, but since we are using the monthly basis, okay, so kita will go detail. So we will calculate based on the month use only. So this is more like lebih adil to the asset. Sebab even though the asset is bought in the year of 2021, tapi we won't depreciate dia for the whole year sebab baru beli kan. Okay, so berapa bulan actually akan dikira. So you bought the asset on 1st until 15th, which is on the 2nd. Jadi my depreciation month will be October, November, December. So if I were to calculate the depreciation for this particular asset that is newly bought on the 2nd of October 2021, so the depreciation expense will be 10,000 times 10%, the rate given. Okay, and then kita akan multiply dengan 3 upon 12. So we only depreciate the asset for 3 months. Okay, why 3 months? Inclusive of October, the month of the purchase. Kenapa October termasuk? Sebab you beli on the 2nd, which is the first part of the month, which is on the 1st until 15. So it is considered one full month. So even though saya beli 15 hari bulan pun, still the depreciation will be considered for one full October, one full month of October. Okay, alright. So let's say the asset is purchased within 16 to 31st for that particular month. Okay, let's say saya beli 17 hari bulan 10 2021 and my closing date is on the same date lah. Okay, that will be 31st of December 2021. Okay, so how many months will be calculated for the depreciation expense for that particular year? Okay, so let's say we are still using the same data. So the asset cost is 10,000. The depreciation rate using straight line method is 10%. Okay, and then how many months? So we bought the asset on the 17th, which is within this range of date. So bila dia berada di antara 16 hingga 31, okay, so we won't include that particular month to be calculated as the depreciation expense. So bila saya nak kira depreciation expense for this particular asset, October won't be included. So kita cuma akan kira November and December. October won't be included because you bought the asset throughout the second part of the month, which is towards the end of the month. It's considered towards the end of the month. So during October time, kita tak kira sebagai 1 month sebab dia within the range of 16 to 31st October. So the depreciation expense will only be calculated starting from November until towards the end lah. That means November and December. So kalau kita guna monthly basis, your depreciation expense for this particular set will be calculated upon 2/12 only. So hanya dikira sebagai 2 bulan. Okay, so this is when we look at it to calculate the depreciation expense for asset that is newly bought. Okay, so let's say the asset is already with you. Asset tu dah ada dengan kita, dah guna beberapa tahun, and I am going to dispose or sell the asset or discard the asset, anything. Alright, so dispose, you have 3 process of disposing the asset. You can either trade in, you can sell, or you can discard. So let's say the date here is within 1st until 15. So dia punya treatment is opposite of your purchase date tadi. Okay, so contoh, katakan sekarang asset tu dah memang ada dengan saya. So we are doing the disposal on the year of 2021. Okay, let's say saya nak jual asset tu hari ni. Okay, so hari ni will be 18 of October 2021. Okay, so before I am able to sell the asset, saya kena kira asset tu to the latest book value. Maksudnya kena kira sehingga selepas ditolak dengan susut nilai yang terkini, barulah kita boleh dapatkan dia punya book value. So that bila you jual aset tersebut, you are able to calculate your loss or gain for the disposal of the asset. So aset tu dah memang ada dengan kita. So kalau kata dia tak dijual, that means aset tu depreciation akan dikira from January until December. The thing here is we are selling it on the 18th of October. So that means kita kena kira dulu, calculate dulu the depreciation, then you need to declare the depreciation. Then only the amount will be accumulated in the accumulated depreciation ledger. Okay, so how many months will be calculated for the depreciation expense for that particular asset for the year 2021? Okay, so bila kita jual, I got the date silap. Okay, so let's see. Okay, saya nak jual okay, I nak jual aset tu 11 hari bulan. Okay, 11 hari bulan lah. Alright, so if I'm selling the asset on 11th of October, so how many months will be calculated as the depreciation expense? Okay, so kita dah ada asset tu dengan kita from the very beginning of the year. So the asset calculations, the depreciation calculations will be January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August and September only. Okay, Oktober tak dikira sebab kita akan dispose during the month of October, and the date of the disposal is between 1st until 15. So bila dia is between 1st until 15, that means okay, month of October won't be included. So if you were to calculate the depreciation expense for that asset from January until the day you dispose, that means berapa bulan akan ada depreciation. So depreciation you ialah from January until September only. Okay, so when you calculate the depreciation, that will be 9/12. Okay, October won't be included because the date of the disposal is on the 11th, which is between 1st until 15. Okay, so no depreciation for the month of December. October. Alright? Okay, kenapa tak tunggu sampai 31st December? Tak perlulah tunggu sampai 31st December sebab kita dah nak jual. So, bila kita dah nak jual, catatan perlu dibuat on the day of the disposal. You don't need to wait until the adjustments, the closing date. Okay, you don't do the adjusting entries at all. So, nanti on the 31st of December, you'll do the adjustments for other asset besides the one that you already disposed. Yang ni dah jual, so that won't be included in your asset anymore. So, bila saya nak buat adjustment for 31st of December for 2021, this asset will be excluded. Okay? Alright, so let's say I am going to dispose the asset today. Okay, dah terbalik dah tadi saya cakap. Alright, so let's say I'm going to dispose the asset today, which is on the 18th of October 2021. So how many months will that be? Alright, so because you are disposing the asset towards the end of the month, so it is considered one full month. So if I were to dispose the asset on the 18th, which is between 16 until 31st for that particular month, so my depreciation expense, sebab asset tu dah memang ada dengan kita, so we are going to sell the asset, nak jual atau nak trade in. You don't no longer need the asset. So how many months of depreciation for that particular asset for 2021? Okay, that will be alright, January until October. So your depreciation will be calculated for 10 months, which is 10 upon 12. Okay, so you boleh nampak beza. This is on the 11th and this is on the 18th. Beza is only 7 days. But if you dispose the item within 1st until 15th of October, that particular month, okay, the calculations will be different from if you dispose the asset within 16 to 31st. Okay, so if you dispose within 16 to 31st of that particular month, the depreciation expense will include one full month for that for the month of the disposal as well. Tapi kalau on between 1st until 15th, that particular month is not considered as part of the disposal period. So kita akan kira depreciation until the month, the previous month only. Okay, alright. This is for monthly basis. So for me, monthly basis is dia justify your assets value lah. Dia beri nilai yang lebih adil because we go detail. Okay, we don't assume the asset has been used for that for like 1 year, even though it was only bought a few days within that particular year. Okay, so let's say if you are using the yearly basis, so yearly basis is slightly different. Okay, so for yearly basis, okay, depreciation is recognized in full. Okay, full bila in the purchase year, and also yang untungnya ialah there won't be any depreciation allocated, okay, when you dispose the item on that particular year. Okay, so let's say I beli asset tu 2021. So it doesn't matter bila you beli, as long as you bought the item on any of the months in 2021. Okay, so bila kita kira depreciation for that particular asset, it will be depreciated in full. That means kalau saya guna the same data as the one given on the monthly basis, so my depreciation will still be 10,000 ringgit times 10%. Okay, walaupun I beli 30th of December. Okay, so this one won't be do justice to your asset lah. Baru beli 1 hari, baru sampai dekat premise, you haven't used the asset yet, but the asset is already depreciated for one whole year. So that means automatically nilai asset tu turun, even though you only started buying it like 1 day before the closing date. So, but that is considered the purchase year. So the depreciation for the asset will be calculated in full. Okay, the best part is when you are going to dispose the asset. Okay, let's say saya nak dispose asset tu, and I nak dispose on the 30th of December. That is one day before I close my account. Okay, so is there going to be any depreciation expense calculated for the year 2021? Okay, if you are using the yearly basis on that particular year, in your adjustment, okay, there won't be any depreciation expense for this particular asset. So no depreciation if we are using the yearly basis. Okay, so let's say aset tu saya beli satu hari bulan 1 2018. Okay, and I'm going to dispose it today, 30th of December 2021. So my accumulated depreciation for this asset, because I need to calculate the book value kan? Okay, so the accumulated depreciation is only calculated for the year 2018, okay, 2019 and 2020. Okay, alright, your year of disposal is 2021. Okay, so since we are using yearly basis, so there won't be any calculations for depreciation for this particular year. So your accumulated depreciation is only based on the 3 previous years earlier. Okay, so the way you calculate for yearly basis is slightly different, but it won't do much justice to your asset.
Okay, now we are going to calculate and generalize the depreciation based on the following methods. Okay, the first method that I'm going to show you is the straight line method. So we are supposed to prepare the depreciation expense account and also the accumulated depreciation accounts. So how do we do the calculations for straight line? Okay, for example 2, a machine has been purchased on 1st of January 2011. Okay, so this is the first information you must note, which is the date of the purchase of the asset. Alright, and the cost of the asset is 130,000. Okay, so this is the cost of the asset. The salvage value, certain books they are using the terms as residual value. Okay, so salvage value, or in BM, you learn in school, is called nilai sisa, right? So the amount here is 10,000 and the useful life is 5 years. So we are supposed to calculate the depreciation expense for the year 2011. Okay, so how do you do the calculations for straight line method? Okay, so here, if you are using the straight line method, we are going to calculate the depreciation expense based on this formula given. Okay, so we'll take the cost of the asset. Okay, we will deduct the salvage value and we will divide with the useful life, and that is how you get the rate for the depreciation expense. Okay, so certain question they are giving you this kind of information, and certain question they are giving you in a form of percentage as the rate of the depreciation. Okay, so here the rate of the depreciation, as you can see, is equals to the percentage, okay, multiply with the cost of the asset after deduction with the salvage value. Alright, so if the question, if the salvage value is given in the question, so kita kena tolak dulu untuk kita dapatkan nilai selepas ditolak dengan salvage value, then only we will multiply with the rate given. Okay, so ada dua cara. So you can straight away calculate using the formula here, or you can first find the rate for the depreciation. So how do you calculate the rate for the depreciation? So the estimated useful life given in the question is 5. So we will divide the 100% value with the estimated useful life value. Okay, in the question given is 5. So 100% divided by 5, so the rate is actually 20%. So you can either use this rate and then you just multiply with the amount given, okay, or you can straight away calculate from here. Okay, so the solution for this question will be, okay, so the cost of the asset is 130,000, okay, and then we will deduct with the salvage value. Okay, the salvage value or the residue value is 10,000, and then we will divide with 5, which is the estimated useful life. So the depreciation for 1 year is 24,000. So since this is straight line, that means the amount will only be calculated once, because this will be the amount for depreciation expense for this particular asset for the whole 5 years of useful life. That means every year, starting from 2011, the depreciation expense for this machine is 24,000. That means 2011 is 24,000, 2012 is also 24,000 until 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. Until 2015 will still remain as 24,000. Okay, so this is when I directly use the formula given. Okay, ataupun the second way is you need to calculate the rate first, if not given in the question. If the rate is already given, then it's easier for you. But if the rate is not given, you need to calculate the rate. So from the calculation here, I got the rate as 20%. So how do I calculate the depreciation expense? So kita ambil that 20%, kita akan multiply, sama juga. Okay, the cost of the asset is 130,000. You need to deduct with the salvage value first. Okay, it's a must. Okay, every time for straight line only. Okay, kita mesti tolak dulu dengan salvage value atau residual value. Okay, and then when you times with 20%, you still get the same amount, which is 24,000. Okay, so every year the depreciation expense is 24,000, and this amount will be accumulated for 5 years. Okay, all right. So we look at this table. Okay, so how do we calculate the depreciation expense on yearly basis? Okay, so for the first year, that is on the year of 2011. Okay, all right. So I bought the asset at the price of 130,000. Okay, so for the year 2011, the depreciation expense, as I calculated earlier, is 24,000. All right. So the accumulated depreciation for the year is also 24,000. Why? Because this is the first year, kan? The year before tak ada lagi. So the accumulated is only for 1 year. That is 24,000. So bila kita transfer the amount into your financial position, so you'll get the book value. Okay, so how much is the book value for the asset? The book value will be 130,000 minus 24,000. That leaves you with 106,000. So this is actually 130,000 minus 24,000. Okay, so next year, okay, we're going to do the same thing. All right, so this is straight line, so that means the depreciation remains the same, so you will only need to calculate once. Okay, unless there is changes, unless there is some changes on the value of the asset, meaning that maybe you bought a new machine, so the total of the machine, the amount of your machine in your asset has increased. Or maybe you already disposed some of the machines, so the amount is no longer 130,000, so the depreciation expense will also differ. Okay, so let's say assuming there is no changes for that particular asset until towards the end of the useful life, so next year round pun dia punya depreciation masih 24,000. Okay, so accumulated, that means kita kumpul nilai dia daripada tahun semasa dengan tahun-tahun sebelumnya. So this one will be 48,000. That means you akan ambil 24,000, which is the depreciation expense for this year. Kita akan tambah dengan the accumulated depreciation for the previous years. Okay, so for this year, your book value will be 82,000. So this 82,000 is actually one. Okay, this 82,000 is actually, kalau you tengok dekat sini, alright, this is actually 106,000 minus 24,000. Or in other ways, this 82,000 is also 130,000 Okay, when you present it in the financial position, you're still going to use the amount of 130,000, but kita akan minus dengan 48,000. That is the latest amount of your accumulated depreciation. That's why you come out with the amount of 82,000. Okay, all right. So I'm going to proceed with the year of 2013. Okay, 2014 and 2015. The depreciation expense remain the same. Okay, this is depreciation expense. That means this is annual expenses, nilai semasa untuk belanja susut nilai tahun semasa. Okay, alright. So yang ni is one off. That means dia tak ada baki bawa ke dia tak ada CF balance. Okay, because this is expenses ledger, expenses account, right? But accumulated depreciation is a contra to the asset, so dia ada baki awal and dia ada baki akhir. Alright. Okay, so for 2013, since previously we have 48,000, so for 2013 your accumulated depreciation will increase to 72,000, which is 24,000 plus 48. Okay, so that means apa yang berlaku tahun semasa, kita add up with the balance from previous years in your accumulated depreciation. Okay, so your book value is 58,000. So we'll be doing the same thing until 2015. Why until 2015 only? Because the useful life of this asset is 5 years. Okay, so that means after 5 years, there won't be any more depreciation expense. So asset tu akan remain book value dia with the residual value given earlier. That means kalau in this question the residual value is 10,000. So selepas 5 tahun there won't be any more depreciation. So asset tu akan kekal pada book value of 10,000 ringgit until one time you decided to dispose the asset. Okay, kita tak boleh nak depreciate the asset more than the useful life given, or else you get negative figures lah. Alright, okay, so on 2014 we'll be doing the same thing. Okay, so the accumulated is 96,000, which is 24,000 plus 72,000. So your book value leaves you with the amount of 34,000. Okay, so sampai last lah, and you can see here this is actually your salvage value ataupun your residual value. So if the question in the question is given 10,000, that means after 5 years, when I already calculated all my depreciation expense for 5 years, okay, the book value will leaves me with the residual value amount. Mesti sama. Kalau tak sama, there's something wrong somewhere. You need to recalculate your depreciation expense. Okay, alright. So now we are going to record the depreciation expense for 2011. Okay, as mentioned in the question, we are supposed to journalize, okay, the depreciation expense for 31st December 2011. Okay, the first thing you need to have is the date. Tarikh penting ya, especially when you're doing adjusting entries. This is considered adjusting entries because we are going to do it only once towards the end of the accounting period. So here my date is on 31st of December year 2011. Okay, so to record depreciation expense is very easy because the pairing remains the same no matter what happens to the question. Untuk record depreciation, you just need to debit depreciation expense. Okay, you need to tag because you have a lot of asset in your company. So since we are doing the depreciation expense for machine, make sure you tag the depreciation as machine so that you know this is actually meant for machine only. Right? Okay, and we will credit accumulated depreciation for machine as well. So this is to record the depreciation, okay, on machine. Okay, so the amount here is this one. Okay, sebab we are calculating the depreciation expense for 1 year. So the amount that will be recorded, okay, is 24,000. So as you can see here, this will be your adjusting entries for the depreciation expense for that particular machine, okay, on 31st December 2011. Okay, all right. This is when we are using yearly basis. All right. Okay, so we look at example 3. Okay, let's see. The same machine is purchased on January 20th. Okay, January 20th, 2011. Okay, earlier in the question, the machine was purchased on 1st of January. Alright, so this one, kita ubah sikit tarikh. So the tarikh will be 20th of January. Alright, so as you can see here, we are using monthly basis. So the one that I did earlier is actually yearly basis, right? So this is for monthly basis. Okay, so now we are supposed to calculate the depreciation expense on December 31st, 2011. Okay, you look at the date of the purchase, it's on the 20th. That means tarikh kita beli tu berada within 16 to 31st of January. That range of period, right? So now, when we purchase the item towards the end of January, so the depreciation expense for that particular year won't be including January in the calculations. So you will only calculate the depreciation for 11 months only. Okay, so as you can see here, kita akan darab dengan 12. Kita akan darab dengan 11 upon 12. Okay, so the depreciation expense is actually 24,000, the one that we calculated earlier. We are still using the same amount, but we won't be recording 24,000 because depreciation 2 is only for 11 months. So kita akan multiply dengan 11 upon 12. So depreciation expense using monthly basis for the year 2011 is only 22,000. So ada nampak beza kan? If you are using the yearly basis, your depreciation expense will be 24,000. If you are using the monthly basis, your depreciation expense is down to 22 because we are calculating for only 11 months. Okay, so that's why in B, alright, you can see the depreciation expense at December 31st, 2011 is 24 full amount, even though the item was purchased on 20th of January. Because if you are using yearly basis, it doesn't matter when you bought the asset will be fully depreciated for that particular year. Okay, next we are going to go through the second method to calculate the depreciation expense, that is reducing balance. Some books or notes you might come across with the term declining balance. Okay, so reducing balance, it's slightly different from straight line, and the calculations for each year will differ because the percentage given is calculated based on the net book value, right? Okay, so we look at example 4. Syarikat Maju purchased a machine in 2015. Okay, this is the year of purchase. Okay, and the price of the machine is 50,000, right? And the useful life is 4 years. So we are going to do depreciation for 4 years only. Okay, so because that's the useful life. And then salvage value is 7,000. That means after the 4th year of depreciation, the net book value for the asset will remain as 7,000 only. Okay, the rate is given in the question, so you're not to calculate anything because the rate is already given. Okay, the percentage here is 39%. So we are to calculate the yearly depreciation expense, okay, by using the reducing balance method. Okay, so using the reducing balance method, okay, you're going to take the percentage given, that is the rate, okay, and then we will multiply with the net book value. Okay, so net book value, as you all remember from earlier example, net book value is when we take the cost of the asset and we deduct or minus with the accumulated depreciation. So every year round, the net book value will be different. So the depreciation expense for the current year will also differ based on the net book value calculations. Okay, so the solution here, all right. Okay, so we bought the asset at the price of 50,000. So for the first year of depreciation, okay, we are using the yearly basis. Okay, so for the year of 2015, the depreciation will be 39% multiplied with 50,000 ringgit. So your depreciation expense will be RM 19,500 ringgit. Okay, so the accumulated depreciation for that year is the same because this is the first year we are doing the depreciation expense for this asset. Okay, so accumulated depreciation for 2015 ialah 19,500. Okay, so the book value after the adjustments on 2015 will be 30,500 ringgit. Okay, this is when you deducted the 50,000 ringgit, the amount when you purchase the asset with the accumulated depreciation. Okay, so next year on 2006, okay, we cannot use the same value and just like simply copy paste down here because we are not using straight line. If it's straight line, the depreciation expense is the same throughout the useful life. But for reducing balance or declining balance, we need to calculate every year sebab dia punya net book value tu dah berbeza. So for the year 2016, okay, you will take that 39%. We are still using the same percentage, but we will multiply with the net book value. That is 30,500 ringgit. So that gives us the depreciation expense for the year 2016 is 11,895 because the net book value is different. Okay, and as you can see here, I do not minus my asset value with the salvage value. Okay, as you can see in the question, you have a salvage value kan? The salvage value is 7,000. So kita tak tolak pun. No need. You only minus that 7,000 if we are using straight line method. Okay, but for declining balance or reducing balance, we won't do that because every year round kita akan kurangkan asas untuk pengiraan. That is the net book value, dia akan reduce every year. So you don't need to minus with the salvage value. Okay, tapi towards the end of this useful life, you must make sure the balance remain in the book value should be the salvage value given in the question, which is 7,000. Mesti tinggal 7,000 saja, tak boleh lebih. Alright, okay, so the accumulated depreciation for 2016 will be 19,500 plus 11,895. So you have a balance, okay, balance carried forward, which is 31,395 ringgit in your accumulated depreciation account. So now that leaves you with the amount of 18,605 ringgit in the book value. So how do I get 18,605 ringgit? Okay, the previous year book value, which is 30,500. Okay, we will minus with the depreciation expense. Right, that is 11,895. Okay, all right. So next year round, we are left with this for the calculation of the depreciation. Okay, so untuk 2017, I will multiply 39% with 18,605. So the depreciation expense, kalau you are doing the adjusting entries, your entries will record this amount, which is 7,255 ringgit and 95 cents. Please do not round off your figures sebab kita belajar ringgit Malaysia. For sure your answers will have until 2 decimal points if they are given. Okay, so jangan nak round off unless the question state you to do that. Okay, so now your accumulated depreciation, just now you have 31,395. Now you have additional 7,255 ringgit and 95 cents. So accumulated depreciation untuk tahun berikutnya will be 38,650 ringgit and 95 cents. Okay, so towards the end of 2017, asset you, nilai buku bersih, net book value, will be 11,349 ringgit and 5 cents. Okay, so now we are at the final year of the useful life of for this asset. So sampai 2018, okay, kenapa kita buat sampai 2018 saja? Sebab dia punya useful life, okay, is 4 years. So depreciation untuk aset ni akan dikira hanya untuk 4 tahun saja. Selepas 4 tahun, we won't be calculating any more depreciation. That leaves us with the balance of the salvage value as the net book value for the asset sampai bila-bila atau sehingga asset tu kita dispose. Alright, so in 2018, you'll do the same thing, which is kita akan darabkan 39% times what you will do, you akan multiply by 11,349 ringgit and 5 cents. Okay, tetapi for the final year, we won't be doing that because I need to make sure I am left with only 7,000 towards the end. Okay, so kalau saya nak tinggalkan 7,000 sahaja sebagai nilai sisa or my salvage value, that means the rest of the amount from this 11,349 ringgit and 5 cents will be considered as depreciation expense. So you just minus saja. That's how you get 4,349 ringgit and 5 cents. And your accumulated depreciation to the year 2017 will be 43,000. Okay, alright. So kalau you darab, okay, let's say you multiply 11,349 ringgit and 5 cents. If I were to multiply with 39%, okay, I will get the amount of 4,000. Okay, it will be 4,426 ringgit and 13 cents. Okay, ini yang kita dapat kalau kita kira 39%. Tapi, if you minus 11,349 ringgit and 5 cents dengan nilai yang kita dapat daripada pengiraan ni, okay, your salvage value akan tinggal 6,922.92, 6,922 ringgit and 92 cents. So that means you tak comply lah dengan kehendak soalan. Sebab kehendak soalan says that the asset after the asset has a salvage value of 7,000. Maksudnya selepas selesai 4 kali depreciation expense, depreciation process, the asset hanya akan tinggal nilai sebanyak 7,000 saja. So kalau I kira macam biasa, I won't be getting 7,000. I'm getting 6,922 ringgit and 92 cents. Okay, so that means I don't comply to the requirement of the question. So that is why for the final year, untuk tahun terakhir saja, we just leave 7,000 here as the book value sebab kita tahu book value tu ialah baki terakhir nilai buku bersih, which is the salvage value, nilai terakhir, nilai sisa kamu. So, selain daripada that, 7,000 will be considered as depreciation expense. So, that is why for the last final year tu of depreciation, we call it a plug figure. Okay, so how to calculate the depreciation expense for 2018? You just take the 2017 net book value, and kita akan minus terus dengan 7,000, which is your salvage value. That leaves you with the current depreciation expense of 4,349 ringgit and 5 cents. That is how I get the figure for 2018. Okay, so that is how you calculate the depreciation expense using reducing balance. Okay, so there are two things that you need to remember. The first thing, you do not deduct the the asset cost with the salvage value before you start calculating the depreciation. We only do that using straight line method. And then let's say you are given certain years of useful life. So towards the end or the final year of the depreciation expense, okay, the last year of the salvage, the useful life given, okay, calculation tool must make sure. Sometimes you don't need to multiply with the percentage given. Just make sure you leave the salvage value as the net book value. So the rest of the figures, the rest of the amount yang still ada will be deducted from this salvage value that gives you the current the current depreciation expense for that uh, final year.